Welcome to the first episode of our sideshow called Expanding the Galaxy for Film Lovers Guide to the Galaxies. I am here with a very special guest, someone I've known for a very long time. Her name is Dani Shapiro. How are you tonight, Dani?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but it's okay. You know, we're both teachers, so we're both like always exhausted, but it's fine. We love what
Yes.
we do. Dani is here in the very special month of October with me to discuss something we both really love, and that's horror movies and TV and all things like that. So, Dani, just so the listeners kind of get to know your taste, what do you usually watch on a weekly basis that will give the listeners kind of a gist of your taste?
Well, on a weekly basis, I watch pretty much everything that's on Bravo.
Love it.
Definitely always Below Deck, even if it's not on live. I've
Yeah.
probably watched Below Deck in the past week, if not day.
Oh yeah. It's a comfort show, right? It's just there for
Definitely.
you. There for you at all times.
Yes, it goes with Below Deck, Daria, and Parks and Rec. Those are my comfort shows.
I love it. Okay, so I tried to show Parks and Rec to my kids when we had some downtime recently, but it's not on Netflix or it's like on Peacock, I think.
Yeah.
So we started watching The Good Place, and it's a very interesting show for high schoolers. They're kind of like, what is this? So I'm gonna keep showing it just to see how they like it. They kind of were into it, but
That's kind of how I felt about it. I kind of was into it. I ended up stopping with I honestly didn't finish the final season, which is still, I can't believe I still haven't finished it. But
yeah, the final season is very good. It wraps everything up really nice, and like it's very like sad, but also very good. I can't imagine if I were to encounter that show as a high schooler, like what I would think. I'd be like, what the but yeah, so we're gonna get into what we've been watching this past week. You said you've been watching, probably Below Deck or anything notable on the said Bravo shows that you keep up with, or any scripted shows that you've been watching.
I've been watching Abbott Elementary.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which is
I really
fantastic.
need to I've seen a few episodes. And what I've seen I've really liked.
Every episode is good. Every episode makes me cry.
Does it resonate you as a teacher of that age?
Definitely. And as someone who, I don't currently work in Title I, Title III, but I used to, and it's really hits home. A lot of those themes.
Yeah, I think one of the episodes I watched was they did like they were doing a fundraiser or like a GoFundMe, and there was like with like the older teacher, and they made her look like almost decrepit, so they got all kind. Yeah, that was very funny. Yeah, the school I teach at, it just got moved to a Title I, so we're into that and everything that goes along with it. And it's interesting when you see a show like TV shows that clearly they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to education. But like Abbott Elementary seems to like, oh, something like these people
teachers
know,
are
like,
writing this show.
yeah,
Or
teachers are
someone
clearly
knows teachers
being consulted. Yeah.
I think I heard that the creators' parents or someone were educators of some sort.
Oh, that's great.
Which makes sense.
And be nice to your teachers right now, everybody. October's a long month.
Please.
So, and Abbott Elementary, have you been watching anything else? Like,
I watched Hocus Pocus 2.
Please, okay, because we're not going to cover this on the regular show, on the main squeeze. Tell me your elevator review of Hocus Pocus 2, or not even elevator, just get into it. Please tell me.
I really liked it. I watched it like sundown on Friday night by myself.
Okay. Yeah.
I love the original, and I thought they did a good job. I really did. I thought everyone was good in it. The storyline was cute. There were enough nods to the original. There were some musical numbers I could have done without, but I thought it was good.
That's good, because I've been hearing from some people that it's not as good.
It's not as
Um,
good. It couldn't be.
no, yeah, okay, interesting. So how are the three witches? How have they how are they in this one? Are they as entertaining or
Yeah, they're just the same. They really play the same characters. Obviously, the actresses are slightly older, but they weren't exactly meant to look, you know, young to
yeah?
begin with when they were young.
It probably adds to it, to be honest, like their witchness. If you
Yeah. Time has gone by, but they're still the same,
yeah, for sure.
angry and some not so bright. It plays well still. It's cute.
Well, that's great. I'll probably end up watching it soon. What have I been watching? I've been finally suckered into watching House of the Dragon. That sweet, sweet hit of Game of Thrones. As soon as I heard the theme song, I was like, "Oh man, okay, yeah, yeah, I'm back." And people are kind of being a little bit harsh on it. I think it's very good, and people are kind of saying that, oh, there's nobody to root for, this and that. I don't think that's entirely true. I think there are plenty of people to root for, or mainly the one person to root
I mean,
for.
there were
And
very few people to root for in Game of
yeah,
Thrones.
well, yeah, please, like, are we gonna root for Dum Dum Ned Stark for being a dum dum and ruining stuff? Or yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, but it was like there. This show is so the season finale is in 3 weeks, and then there's 2 years without the show,
So
and
I
I'm
have
like,
plenty of
what do
time to
we?
watch it then.
Yeah, oh yeah, you'll have plenty of
You can
time, and
just
I'm
answer
just
all my questions when I watch
yeah.
it. That's what you'll do for 2 years.
So for the listeners, this is kind of what happens. Danny will watch. I miss it and like dearly when I would get a just 7:34 p.m. on like a Thursday. Hey, so Stannis Baratheon, like, can we? And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's get into it. Those were some of my favorites, especially when the main show was on, and I can't wait for you to. The wigs are terrible. I
Oh
will say the
no.
wigs are bad, but it's not detracting from the show at all. What else have I been watching? I don't
Have you
watch
been
much
watching
because
Sex in the City?
yeah, okay, yeah, yes, I am. I am.
Poor Sky.
I've never seen Sex and the City before, so I am. I'm watching slowly but surely. I right before school started, I marathoned the first like season and a half, and then I've been slowly like kind of drip feeding it to myself when I get the chance. It's it's still so crazy that it's my favorite thing when you see kind of these bit actors show up.
Mm-hmm.
These like, oh, that's a guy, like that's a
Person's been in Law and Order.
yeah, that was a sex pest in Law and Order. I know that guy. um, yeah, and there's just things that kind of like step out. Like, is smoking that prolific nowadays still? Like, because everybody in that show smokes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like one of the things that kind of popped out to me. Another one is just how good Sarah Michelle Gellar, or it's not Sarah Michelle Gellar, sorry, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Another
Uh,
favorite.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, tangent. My students, I teach high school students. They have students with emotional issues. I will say that they were taught. I teach intro to film, and they were talking the other day about horror movies, and they're like, "Oh my god, Mr. Luth, have you seen this movie called I Know What You Did Last Summer?" I go, "Yeah." And they're like, "What kind of name is that?" I go, "What are you talking about?" And there's a sequel. I still know what you. I go, guys, that movie came out when I was your age, and it was wonderful. They're like, "Ugh, I don't want to even be around." I go, "Oh my guys." I'm trying to think. That's probably a movie I could show because there's not really that much gore.
No.
There's not. It's not
You
that
show that
bad.
kind of horror movie?
But like thinking about like I definitely couldn't show Scream. We'll touch on it when we get into it, but I always
Mm.
forget how gory Scream is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the the intro to film has been really really funny because you'll like touch on something they will like get. Like pop culture to them now is all phone stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for us it was not it was not
Yeah.
phone stuff. because I didn't have a phone until I was like a sophomore, and it only
Mhm.
sent text messages, and it had
On T9.
yeah, thank you, T9 for life. um, okay, we're gonna move into the main movie we were talking about this week, Scream.
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Danny, when do you think was the first time you saw this movie?
I think that I was in 4th grade.
Okay, great, because I was entirely too young to see this movie as well.
Okay. Yeah, my friend's sister was 7 years older than we were, and she was into it. So then they had the VHS, and I watched it at her house.
Yes, I saw it with a. I saw it in like fifth or sixth grade with a girl I had a crush on, and I was like, okay, like we gotta watch it, like, and I was going like, oh my god, and she was like, what do you like? Vividly, I was acting like a chicken in front of. It was a seminal moment
Mm.
in my life. Okay, so like some of the things. This came out in '96, which, man, I was 10 when this came out.
Yeah, maybe I was younger then than 4th grade. Maybe it was like right then, like straight to VHS, straight to me.
Yeah, oh man. Do you remember the poster for Scream? Do you remember the Drew Barrymore, the
Yes,
like
the
she's like,
eyes with
"Oh."
the, yeah, with her hand over.
That's I cuz I remember going into it being like, "Oh man, Drew Barrymore is going to be in this movie." And then they straight up just off her in the first scene. They do like an homage to Psycho where
Mhm.
Janet Leigh gets like that was just so mind-blowing to me that this movie was making fun of horror movies, but it was also like kind of an homage to them.
Mhm.
And I don't know what kind of drew you to this movie. I mean, it's my favorite horror movie. This
It's
one, like,
also my favorite.
what kind of drew you to this, do you think?
I think for me, I like all kinds of scary movies, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily scared when I watch it.
Yeah,
It's like I can get into
totally.
the characters and the story without like being on the edge of my seat and like what's going to terrify me next. It's like
Uh-huh.
more watchable to me, like a favorite movie can be.
Yeah, totally. Are you a more do you like this is gonna I was asking my students this today. Are you more a suspense person or just a straight up jump scare person?
I like both,
Yeah.
but I'm like ghost stuff is very scary to me.
Okay.
But
I was
I like to watch it.
Ghost stuff kind of messes me up. Like the third Paranormal Activity, I like the one where it like ended and when they were going to like the grandma's house and it was like the witch coven. I was like, no, I'm done.
Love a witch coven.
Yeah, we all that was my least favorite season of True Blood though, the witch one.
Ugh, that's
Um
another thing I ended before. Like I watched till the
yeah,
last season and then didn't watch the last couple episodes.
same here. It just got bad. It truly was
Too many
bad.
storylines at once.
But yeah, like there were going back to Scream, like I remember watching it and I said it earlier, I forget how gory this movie is. Like I was gonna be like, oh, I could show this, and rewatching it this week, there's no way I could show this to my students. Like even like the beginning scene, like I was thinking about showing it to show like suspense and as an example, and it was just no, like her boyfriend just like getting gutted right there.
Oh,
There's no,
Steve.
I know, poor Steve.
Justice for Steve. Never seen again.
I know, and I I am a big Wes Craven fan, and I'm so glad that he started making these, and eventually we'll talk about the later ones, but man, this kind of like it was like good in my mind. In my mind, it was like it kicked off like a really nice time in the '90s where like we got some really
Mhm.
fun horror movies, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, which isn't great. I went back
Yes,
and
it
watched it.
is.
Okay, it
The first one is.
it okay, yeah.
The other
With
one's
that,
okay.
yeah, it's okay, but it's like man,
They go on some tangents in that movie.
they do go on some tangents in that movie. So what, I don't know, what are some of your favorite lines or like parts for Scream that really kind of stand out to you?
My favorite line, my two favorite lines. One is, I'm feeling a little woozy here, skipping
Yeah.
right to the end.
Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. Stop it, Billy. Would you all right? I can't take anymore. I'm feeling a little woozy here.
Absolutely.
Matthew Lillard is just so good. And another one that always stands out to me is when Dewey says to Tatum, "You're embarrassing me in front of my superiors," and she says, "The janitor's your superior."
Oh yeah, for sure. Matthew Lillard in this movie is a revelation. He is full 100 miles an hour Matthew Lillard,
Mhm.
and I forget how much I love him whenever I like for I always have this like idea of him in my mind of he's not great, but whenever he pops up, I love him. He was in, what was he in? He was in
She's all that.
she's all that, but no, recently he was in, oh
Oh.
yeah, the Twin Peaks
Oh.
kind of revival kind of thing that David Lynch did, and he played like a serious part. It was so good. And man, I forgot how great he is as just a complete psycho in this movie.
Such a psycho, but such like totally what a teenage boy, like an impressionable teenage boy would be like.
Oh yeah,
Like
for
none of
sure.
this was his idea, even though he might say it was. None of it was his idea.
Yeah. And so I a couple of my favorite like parts of the movie are like when she's running to the door and Dewey's at the door, and for some reason he's holding up the ghost mask like that to her. Like, that always makes me laugh. I watched this again yesterday. I forgot Rose McGowan was in this movie for some
Mm,
reason.
unrecognizable
Uh,
to a degree,
completely unrecognizable.
but she's so good.
Oh yeah, she was great. So I read I read, do you in some kind of, it's like a theory that that Billy Loomis and Stu were a couple at
Mm.
some, like in the universe, and they were just doing this to, and I read that and I was like, there's no way.
I
I
mean,
don't.
they weren't, but maybe they really loved each other.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning,
You
that's
would
what
have
I
to
could believe
love
more.
someone to murder like an onslaught of people for them, I guess,
Do you,
in the name of nothing.
so you think that love is enough to drive you to just be, I think,
I mean, if you're crazy already.
I guess. But one of my favorite lines going back to that is, "Oh, I think you got me a little too deep, man." Oh god. That whole scene, I just remember sitting there with this girl just being, I'm just going like, this is really intense, like, and she's just laughing and I'm going like, what? Like,
The end part of the movie in the kitchen is disgusting.
it's insane. It's
The finger,
completely disgusting.
Sydney, the finger.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh man. And I really liked another one of my favorites is when Jamie Kennedy is on the couch and it's just, oh, she's right behind you. It's like it plays with those
On 30
horror.
second delay.
Yeah,
It's so
oh
good,
man, it's all of that is so good. And the thing is, like,
Kenny.
like we talked about before, it's such a smart movie. Like you feel really smart watching it, like because it's pointing out all these inconsistencies, and it's, or not inconsistencies, like these tropes and everything like that, and you're like playing along with it. And it's, I haven't had like, up until the most recent one where like the reveal that they're in the house,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't like had that much fun with a horror movie, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe Cabin in the Woods, but that's not really horror. I don't know.
I think it is. Thriller. horror.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the whole franchise and you know what happens throughout all the next movies, just the act of Randy giving all the rules for the horror
yeah,
movie just sets the stage for them to make a million sequels, which they did. So
totally. So that role I read today of Randy was between Jamie Kennedy and Breckenmeyer. I think Jamie
oh,
Kennedy was the right call. Breckenmeyer is a little too soft spoken for me. Not as much of like a
he's
door,
sweeter.
Yeah,
Randy was
absolutely.
sweet,
Yeah.
but he was sweet, but like you also were like, is he murdering everyone?
Is the
Like
nerd
Travis
murdering everybody?
Birkenstock
Yeah,
could never.
absolutely.
Travis Birkenstock could never.
Oh man. So what did I mean, we're not really talking about the sequels that much right now, but if they stopped at this one, do you think it would
Hmm,
still be like one your favorite, or is it kind of one of those things that since this spawned a bunch of
that's a good
sequels?
question. I mean, I remember really liking it when I first saw it.
Mhm.
But I feel like the second one came out pretty quickly. So it was almost like, was there time to even like it by itself?
Let's see when number 2 came out. Number 2, oh yeah. Oh, so it was the next year.
Oh,
So
wow.
96, 97. I did not know that.
Do we know if it was planned that, like, were they going to always make two?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good
Can you do
question.
that?
Yeah, I just remember number 2, I didn't like the beginning as much and like in the movie theater, but we can touch on that later. I remember the later sequels just kind of rolling my eye. It just seems like I roll my eyes at it and like I'm gonna see it, and every time I watch them, I have like the best time.
Yeah, I
So
love them. I honestly like them all. There's good things about all of them.
but 4, can we decide that 4 and 1 have the best openings?
4 and 1 do have the best openings for sure.
I think
But I
4
do
might
like,
even.
we could talk about it next time, but I do like the opening to 2.
Okay, we'll talk about that next time. But yeah, do you have anything else to add? Like Scream
You
1
know,
being.
while I was rewatching it for so to be fresh in my mind, I
Mhm.
was like, maybe because I was paying extra close attention, but I never realized what like I mean, he's a murderer, but I didn't realize what like a sexual predator Billy was.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. That's such a
so
good point.
gross.
Yeah, cuz his whole thing is like to kill her he has to, she has to lose her virginity as per the rules.
The
And
rules that he finds out later but already knows because
yeah,
he's crazy. That's kind of Skeet Ulrich kind of plays that vibe in everything, to be honest. I mean, in a lot of
e-
things,
yeah, in everything.
but it never struck me so much as on this most recent watch.
Yeah, that's a really good.
The guilting her into ick.
Yeah. What else? Okay, Ulrich in the same year was in The Craft.
Which he
Okay.
does the same thing, and that he's
Same
like a
thing.
thing basically.
What else was he in? Like,
Recently, he was in Riverdale,
I
and
don't watch Riverdale. Should I watch Riverdale?
I don't watch it anymore. He plays Jughead's dad.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Very, very handsome. You know, a bad boy as he would, like leader of a motorcycle gang, basically. Um,
Okay, I can get behind that. Okay.
Listen, Riverdale it's campy.
I love
The
it.
Archie comics are not supposed to be scary and suspenseful. That's just how I feel. It's like
Mhm.
the same creators that made the new Nancy Drew show, which is supposed to be scary. So it works for
Yeah.
me, but Riverdale works for me if you can just like take it with a grain of salt.
Now, did you like the new Sabrina show?
I didn't finish that either. No, I didn't
I
love it.
didn't. Yeah. I couldn't.
I
I
just want
It was
Melissa
just
Joe.
kind of there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Can we just, yeah. Truly just I want a revival of that show. Or
Yeah.
just or I wanted her
It's
involved
just
in some
boring.
way.
Yeah,
Like how was she not one of the ants?
right. That would have been clever.
I think we failed on that part in
Mm.
reviving that.
Yeah, they just want everything to be so dark. But like,
Yeah.
if you read a comic book, those things aren't meant to be dark.
Yeah. My dad was an Archie comic reader as a child,
My
and
mom
he's
was.
like, and he was like, "Oh man, Riverdale," and he was watching it, and he's going, "What? Why is everything so dark?
Mhm.
This isn't supposed to be like that." And I was like, "Oh," like I saw from the outside what my reaction is to most of like the dumb Marvel movies and like stupid comics. I'm like, okay, well, that wraps up our talk on Scream One. Do you have anything that you're looking forward to watching or rewatching in the month of October, Danny?
I don't know. I have to. Well, all the Scream movies, I suppose.
Oh well, yeah, of course. We're in for a ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of in the mood to watch, like, kind of go back and watch a couple. Okay, I recently watched for the first time the Conjuring movies a few months ago,
Hmm.
because I had never seen them before, and they are good to like
Yes.
middling.
They are
I
confusing to me because every time I go to watch one, there's so many flashbacks that I don't know if I've already watched that one. They're all
Yeah,
so interconnected, or I'm like, did I see this?
I also think it's kind of ridiculous that at the very end of each one of those movies, it's you got to believe in Jesus. You have to believe in Jesus to overcome these people, to overcome this. And like the Warrens were shysters anyway, but I still say one of the creepiest moments in any of those is the hide and seek where those two hands come out and they clap and from like the wardrobe and there's nobody there. That was so effective. Oh man, it terrifies me every time. Just like looking at my like,
Is that Ouija movie part of that
I
series?
don't, and that's the thing. It's like there's so many of it. It's like the doll, and then like
Yes, the
what do
doll and the priest and the nun and the family.
yeah,
I
like
don't.
what are we doing? Come on, the nun, like, oh man. Oh, next time we're gonna okay. Did I will actually I don't know if you haven't seen Nope, right?
No.
Nope is
Nope, I
really
haven't seen Nope. I don't know.
good.
Is Nope good?
I really liked it, but I could see people not
I don't
liking
like
it.
alien stuff, really. It's not
Yeah,
my
it's not. It doesn't.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Like, I love Get Out and I loved Us. I'm haunted by Us every night still, I think, years later.
Oh yeah.
But Nope's not gonna haunt me like that, right? It's just like
No,
weird.
it's like it's interesting. It's more that than it, and it's long. So you don't have. It's probably a skip for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't want it to be the one to decide these things, but you know.
No, I would just was told last week that I probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I don't think you would. I want to see my best friend's exorcism. I've heard that's funny or
I don't
like
know what
good.
that is.
It's like
My
a light
best
horror comedy. It's on Amazon, so
friend.
we'll see. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to talk about more of these movies because they're my favorite.
Same. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. We'll talk to you later. Bye.